Hi everybody and welcome back to Save with Jarod. I'm Jarod and I'm be walking you through 5 quick tips on 5 things they didn't teach you at school about finance. So, let's get into it. We learnt a lot of things at school. A lot of it useful and some of it not quite so useful. However, here's a couple of things that they didn't teach us at school. In my opinion, it's something that we all needed to learn to live a decent, financially viable, and financially disciplined life. Think of it as Adulting 101. Here are 5 things that I've put together that I feel are really important. Number 1, managing your cash flow. Now, this is the first skill that we need, and this is achieved by a really simple equation: income minus expenses. And this is going to lead us to 2 situations. We're either going to have a positive cash flow or we're going to have a negative cash flow. It's so important for us to manage that and ensure that we have a positive cash flow, which basically means we are earning more than we are spending. In South Africa, we have a very poor habit of spending money, and there's some unreal statistics out there of the average debt per person. Most of us are in debt. This is mostly brought about by poor spending habits, and it's a result of people not doing that calculation and sticking to it. So why is your cash flow important? Well, because the minute you get into a negative cash flow position, it becomes this black hole of where you get charged extra fees, interest, and other unnecessary expenses from things like your overdraft, your personal loan, and your credit cards. Download my budget and get yourself on track today. Number 2, discretionary versus non-discretionary spending. Okay, so big words, but it's actually really easily explained. Discretionary spending is just something that means that we have control over, and spending that we have control over. Now, these are generally our wants. So these will be things like eating out, designer clothes, video games, jewelry, etc. Non-discretionary things are things that we have no control over. Things like car insurance, life insurance, rent, bond repayments, food, car repayments. These are things that we have to have and things that are absolutely necessary, our needs. If we've done our cash flow and see that we're in a negative position, we really have to go back to our wants or discretionary spending and really cut back on our expenses. It's not going to be easy, but it has to be done. Number 3, assets versus liabilities. So those of us who have done accounting at school have a basic understanding of what an asset and what a liability is. However, in the last couple of years, that's really been open up to interpretation of what the classification of an asset or a liability is. Let me explain. I personally have used Robert Kiyosaki's definition of what an asset and liability is in his book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that simply states that an asset is something that puts money into your pocket and a liability is something that takes money out. So, to give you a few examples of what an asset is, your rental property that you own grows in value each year, and that puts money into your pocket every month through rental income. Other examples of assets are things like stocks, bonds, and anything else that increases in value. Now, liabilities are a slightly trickier concept. So there's the normal: your bond on your home, your HP on your car. But now, here's where it gets slightly trickier. Your car, bike, and boat are all liabilities. They do not put any money into your pocket. What you paid for those items, 99.9% of the time, you will never be able to sell them for that value ever again. They consistently reduce in value. There is a school of thought that says that your primary home that you live in with your family or by yourself is not actually an asset until it's paid off. Sure, it increases your equity value, but when's the last time your home or your car put money into your back pocket? Sure, there's always an exception to that rule, but remember, it's exactly that, an exception. Once we understand what the difference between an asset and a liability is, we can start spending our money on assets that put money into our back pockets and generate wealth for ourselves. Number 4, your tax returns or refunds aren't actually good. So, we all get excited when we get our tax returns back, right? It's a nice little bonus at the end of every financial year. Now, realistically, what a tax return is money that you have overpaid the government. The government are giving you back money that they've collected in advance from you. It's basically an interest-free loan. Let me explain. Let's say, for example, you go to the grocery store and you buy your groceries there once a week every week for 52 weeks. Now, at the end of the year, the grocery store calls you up and says, "Hey, we've noticed we've overcharged you by 5,000 Rand during the last 52 weeks, and we just want to give it back to you." Would you be as excited then? Probably not, right? Maximize your monthly retirement savings and reduce your monthly taxation. Also, use your tax return to invest in things like a tax-free plan, bonds, stocks, or income-generating assets that bring you in money each month. Also consider taking your tax return and paying off debt that is high interest bearing. Chat to your financial advisor on these topics. They have so many tax-free products and solutions for you. Number 5, saving is losing. Okay, let me explain myself here. Saving is always better than spending, that's for sure. What is more important is how you grow those savings because of inflation. Now, inflation is just really simply explained by the increase in cost of goods and services each year. Currently, inflation is sitting at 4.12%. What this means is that the cost of goods and services increase by 4.12% each year. If your savings is not growing by more than 4.12%, what that actually means is that each year your money is decreasing in value and becoming worth less. Now, savings accounts like money markets at the bank at the moment are only giving about a 2.6% return. What that actually means is that your money has lost and decreased in value by 1.5%. We need to protect the buying power of our money. So take those savings and go and look at a notice deposit, a tax-free plan, or an investment. But just make sure you check out the tax implications of each of those plans. Some of those do attract capital gains tax on a yearly basis. Chat to an advisor and consider all of your options. But please, don't leave your savings vulnerable in your bank account. As always, thanks so much for watching. And I really hope this video has helped you in some way and added some value to your life. Share this with as many people as you like if you feel it can help them. And consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this. Also, check out my blog on Tumblr and my podcast on podbean.com for the audio only and written versions of this podcast. See you guys next time, and remember, keep saving.